Okay, now it says I'm live. So we're live. Hey kids, comics. Silverhead Bronze Age babe here, yakking about our comic book collection. And today with Magic Lasso. Ryan, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you too. Thank you so much for having me back again. I always enjoy when we get to collaborate together and spend some time visiting. And I thank you again for offering this opportunity for me.
Well, it's not just an opportunity to talk about comic books because it's 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the United States, which means it's cocktail hour. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Ah. So the point of today's exercise is to talk about a character that I have really enjoyed discovering in the last 15 years or so. And that character is Nubia. I found her in this issue of Wonder Woman, a book that I latched onto about 15 years ago or so because I was building a Wonder Woman collection. And but it was the character of Nubia that in this book that like really caught my attention. So, it's part of a 3-book run. This particular storyline. So this is number 204, and I was showing Ryan that. Oops! It literally ripped.
Oh no!
Oh,
yeah! Great Hera.
Oops. Hi, Jackson Roy Kirk. Look what I'm doing to my comics.
Look what she did to a Wonder Woman right in front of me. Is she trying to give me a heart attack right here on the YouTube Live?
Oh my God. I'm sorry, Ryan. So the story carries on in Wonder Woman 205 with this beautiful bondage cover, and then winds up with this fantastic cover, number 206. And you find out in the story that Nubia is Wonder Woman's sister, who was formed out of clay. Ryan, do you have thoughts on that particular origin story for the character of Nubia?
So that origin has kind of been replicated with another villain later on that they tried doing in the Wonder Woman universe. And I was like, this is just a ripoff of this is just a ripoff.
Nubia did it. Nubia did it.
And Devastation is that character's name. They tried doing the same thing. She was formed from clay at the exact same time, just in a different, just down the beach way or whatever. And I'm like, come on, guys, you're ripping off Nubia poorly here.
Yeah.
Nubia, I think the concept of that was fantastic. And she came in with a lot of strong firepower. These first bam, 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 3 issues. Then she would appear in a Supergirl issue. Then she would make a smaller cameo in a Super Friends comic book. And then no one saw the character for over 20 years. Exactly. She didn't even show up in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and everybody showed up in that, at least somewhere in the background. She's not even in the background. She is nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. It's gone. Yeah. And the sad part was that she was, my understanding is, first, before we say that, it's the Gray Man's here. Hello, Gray Man. I wanted to share my condolences, Gray Man, that your queen has passed away, but long live King Charles III. So I want you to know that I'm going to either get up early or just stay up to watch the funeral today. So I'm sure that matters to you. Not one bit. But the thing that was so sad about Nubia just disappearing was that she was the very first Black female superhero ever, is my understanding. Yeah. And it was in 1973. So, you had something cool then, but God forbid, you stick with it. Before we go on, there's Paul S. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Look who's in the room. Nadarag is here.
Had a great time last night, Roger. Thank you for having me on.
And
Gary.
Roger's a good guy. Roger, by the way, your comic book wall is awesome. I know you've moved recently, and you have upgraded the studio, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
And here's Jackson. When it comes to Nubia, I'm a newbie. Or is that a newbie? Well, I'll tell you what. I think depending upon when you come into Nubia, you're a newbie. I felt like a complete newbie getting into Nubia now, and we'll talk about that. But before we do, Caleb Leland, my fine sir, thank you for joining us. We're glad to see you. And I hope you have a beer or some kind of adult beverage near you, because why not? So yeah, I mean, she just absolutely disappeared.
In the meantime, she got a Mego 12-inch action figure too. When they did the Linda Carter line of Mego action figures during the popularity of the Wonder Woman TV series.
Okay.
And she was billed as Wonder Woman's arch foe, but she never appeared in the television series.
Was she set to, and they just
I don't think
do
so. I think that they needed an arch foe doll.
Oh.
And then with her being an African American, that was another appeal to it.
Yep.
But the figure itself is absolutely beautiful. I have one. I don't have it here in my newer apartment. I haven't moved that over yet, but I do have one. And
you do, isn't it? Like, how did you snag one of those?
Oh, the eBay.
The eBay.
Yeah.
Well, you have a finely honed collectible. My understanding is that.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Because I do remember seeing those 12-inch Migos in stores. I only ever saw the Linda Carter Wonder Woman one. Now, the Queen Hippolyta, the Steve Trevor, and the Nubia, which are the other three in the line, never once, and I looked for them as a kid, could I find in any Woolworth, Kmart, Target, whatever. They just Toys R Us, none of them. KB, Toy and Hobby, none of them were there.
None of them. So when she disappears basically for good, with a couple of panel appearances every 10 years or so, probably just to keep her in copyright. But before we get to Nubia and the Amazons, which came out last year, and we'll talk a little bit more about, am I right that she appeared in some other stuff leading up to this, like Amazon stuff that I'm unaware of?
There was a little bit.
Can you help me?
I mean, I guess her first post-crisis appearance was in the volume 2, one of the annuals.
Okay.
She did that, and then several more years passed, and then there was a story in volume 2 of Wonder Woman in Vegas, and she showed up there, and she was like NU apostrophe.
Yeah.
EIA.
Right.
Nubia, and then she kind of disappeared again. But then, in the last few years, they've kind of brought her back as part of, associated with Themyscira, as the person who was guarding Doom's doorway. That was her task.
So you knew about that as this thing launched. So this series came out last year, I think. And if anyone watches my show, my channel, I bought the first issue and I didn't like it. And I whined and moaned just like, somebody with diaper rash. I was terrible about it. And Ryan kept saying, "Are you going to keep reading it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just not going to keep reading." So luckily, Ryan, it did not dissuade him, because
I thought, keep reading it, you will.
Yeah.
Because I liked it.
Yeah. So he very generously sent me the rest of the issues, so it completed the run in a wonderful AOK. So it's like, well, I guess I'll read it. And darn if that Magic Lasso wasn't right, I started to really like it.
Because while I was reading it each month, and I do remember your valid points in issue 1 was, well, she wasn't in that much of it. It seemed to focus too much on other Amazons.
Yeah.
And I see that. And I don't disagree with you on that. But as I was reading the rest of the issues that I knew you weren't reading, I just kept thinking, I'm like, I think Sarah would really like this if she wrote this.
What's wrong with her? Well, and as I got into it, it's, this series is doing a lot of heavy lifting, I think, to create a character that I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more of in a lot of different platforms. It seems if DC and Warner Brothers has their way, there's going to be a lot of Nubia coming out. So, to have the mythology behind this new origin story, that there's this well of souls, which is something I'd never heard of. It's kind of like, I was like, oh, it's Themyscira maternity ward. It's how you get.
So the Well of Souls kind of goes back into the George Perez reboot of Wonder Woman.
Oh, so that was a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That kind of goes back to there.
Okay.
That's what they're building that off of.
Okay. So it was just new to me. But, and the whole thing of Doom's doorway, I mean, I didn't, so someone has to guard this Doom's doorway at Themyscira. I was like, okay, so you're giving, everybody has a job, and there's a
in a quick little nutshell, the entire reason why they're there on Doom's doorway, Themyscira is above Doom's doorway, is because, the Amazons went out and got conquered by Hercules. They let man entangle them. Hippolyta prayed to the gods, please free me, even though the Amazons, so to speak, had kind of gone away from what their original purpose was supposed to be. So the gods freed them and gave them this beautiful home where they wouldn't be in that situation again, to be war with man, to be raped, other domestic violence. But their penance was above, below this island was Doom's doorway, where all these horrible things is. And part of their penance was, you have to protect that now to make sure that doesn't come out.
Right. So I got to say, I really like that Well of Souls thing. Like your reward for, dying at the hands of men is to come to this paradise. It's like, that is I was blown away by that. Absolutely blown away by that. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I also love that, I mean, we know Meteorite wasn't there well in Indiana Jones too. Well, I know there were snakes. I was going to show Super Russ 9000. Hello. So this, what I liked so it was a lot of learning for me, and the good news is, in these books, they literally have, it's like, for those of you needing to catch up, here's how this works. Here's how that works. So it's like, thank you. Now, my favorite book, and I'm sure this is why Ryan sent the whole thing to me, is this issue. This is number 4. And this is where you find out for sure, I think, that Nubia is a lesbian. Oh, and by the way, she is out and proud lesbian. And thank you very, very much. I had no idea that was going on. So fantastic, just fantastic. And this scene, there's a flashback. This thing that she's saving people from is actually a flashback from her past. And she's at a museum in Chicago where she is trying to protect some school children and their sweet young school teacher from this thing. And the teacher is, oh my God, thank you, thank you. And she says, you can thank me by clearing the area. Beautiful. I mean, I said in the video that I did about this, way to go, player. I mean, it just was like, I love everything about this.
Nubia can fight and she can flirt at the same time.
It's like,
She's got
Now,
game.
She's got game.
Yeah.
Now, if there is a now the big bad in this series is Medusa.
Yeah.
So I thought was a great nemesis,
Yep.
for Nubia. And if you're going to read the trade or pick these up, we're not going to blow exactly what it is for you, but it's a very creative way. And Nubia has her own specially designed weapon
Mhm.
that helps her do that. And I thought that was super creative. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, am I right, Ryan, that was new? Is it
Yes, that's
in
new.
this? Okay.
Yep.
So it's called the Staff of Understanding. Is that
Mhm.
that what it
Yeah, I
is?
think
So it's very nice. Now, the only thing that I'll say is that at number 6, I got a little confused because the story jumped.
Mhm.
And Ryan's going to explain to me why that all happened. But I have to say that I was in. I really enjoyed this 6-issue run. And if I could say one thing, though, about Nubia, that as a character, I kind of wish she had a little more joie de vivre as Queen of the Amazons. They show her having some real game when she was, Doom's door protector and,
Yep.
hey, I'll see you later, beautiful, and all that kind of stuff. That person disappeared as she, got promoted. And sometimes being promoted can, freak a person out. I get all that. But I think to me, it would be more interesting if we had a Queen of the Amazons who wasn't quite, it's not that she's unsure, it's not that she's mopey, but she's, very serious. And wouldn't it be interesting to have a Queen of the Amazons who actually digs the job? It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
has a little more fun, because she was having some fun in Chicago.
Yeah, she was. She was. Yeah.
So now, before we move on, there's Tony Fett.
It was Tony's birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, young man. I hope you didn't celebrate too hard.
Yeah.
Maybe. So then I emailed Ryan and I said, thank you for this gift. Hooray, hooray. I actually like it. And I was wrong and you were right. So now what do I do? And tell them what rabbit hole you sent me down. And I'll show some of these books.
This is kind of where you get a little bit of your revenge, I think, because I said, have you checked out Trial of the Amazons? Because that is the big Wonder Woman crossover event. And it's the first time since War of the Gods. So it's the first time in 30 years that DC did a big Wonder Woman primary themed crossover.
30 years?
30 years. And the reason that they did it 30 years ago, because then it was her 50th anniversary that year. And George Perez lobbied hard for that and was pretty unhappy with the execution that DC did with it, which actually led him to leave DC.
Oh, he was that honked off.
He was that serious about it. So this is our first one. And, leading into Trial of the Amazons, our very beginning of this book, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks really good, because we have 3 different tribes of Amazons at this point.
Yep.
And they're all coming together for a contest to kind of unite all 3 tribes with one queen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is really interesting. This could be and I love that cover, by the way. That is
this is it sums up kind of the themes of the whole run.
They did that for International Women's Month. That variant cover.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we started on this, and the beginning of the story was really good, and you got a murder in it. And it was like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, this book took this weird twist, and it wasn't about the event, the trial of the Amazons. It kind of became this whodunit and why they do it, and they threw away the entire trial thing.
Right.
And some of the story didn't make sense. The motivation behind who the killer was, and the subsequent, there's been 2 follow-ups since Trial of the Amazons have ended that essentially try to undo the killer's motives, and it went from something that started out so exciting to something that just was so disappointing for me.
I am so glad to hear you say that because I was like, the murder, I guess, should we spoil who got?
I think we could. I mean, DC spoiled it in their solicitations months ago.
Yeah, they killed Hippolyta.
Again, a character that's been killed in the Wonder Woman title, you know?
So we'll just, when in doubt, kill Mama Amazon. So so it started out as this, we're getting together for our little Olympics, and whoops, someone has murdered Hippolyta.
Yeah. Not only someone, it's someone that the people that
someone there.
Woman, I'm going to say who it is. It's Artemis.
Yeah. Wait, I even got that book. So, but so this is one of the follow-ups. I don't know what the other one is. And
the other one is just it's Olympus Reborn Hippolyta.
Oh, okay.
And if you think that book is, if you think the Artemis book is disappointing, the Hippolyta one is even more disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's boy, oh boy. You know,
need a drink. I need a drink.
Seriously. I thought I was just lost because it was zipping over different Wonder Woman type characters that I knew nothing about. And I was like, maybe I'm too stupid to understand comics these days. I am just not following it.
Did you like the beginning though?
I loved it. I thought
I loved the beginning of it.
I thought the first 2 issues were fantastic.
Me too.
It sets up this mystery. It sets up conflict between the Amazons themselves, because we're going to see who's going to be the, queen of all of us. And by the way, there's this murder. And then you have the emotional aspect of Diana, like, oh my God, my, mama's dead. And everyone is like, it started out so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think perhaps scattering it among all of these other books. Wow. Just, I'm afraid that I cannot recommend that as a story arc. And then what Ryan was talking about, Caleb, I think you mean this cover. I love it. This is the Artemis Wanted. So it's the one shot that basically tells, why did this main character kill her? And by the way, how this murder was solved was like, why did you have to go 6 issues? Because this character named, what's her name? Anyway, she just seems to she has ESP or something, and she just figures it out, at the last minute. And she figures out this at the last minute. Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you just sit in a room and be quiet and think, why did you have to send everybody over?
Yeah, it's Wonder Girl Cassie, not Wonder Girl Yara Flor. It's Wonder Girl Cassie, who, we don't see much in the Wonder Woman titles anymore. But
yeah,
honestly, if you had to do a murder in this, I think it would have been. And now, if anyone on DC would hear me say what I'm about to say, I mean, we're talking heart attack.
Right.
It would have been a stronger story to kill Cassie or to kill Yara Flor. How dare I say Yara Flor, who is they're pinning all their hopes and dreams on in the future, as a character. But it would have been a bigger, compelling story if it would have been one of those 2 characters. And then this book comes along and undoes. First of all, Artemis killing Hippolyta there was no connection there.
Right.
Of why. So this book explains why she did it. And then it tries to undo it and make it, see, she's not a bad guy.
Right. It's like, well, oy vey.
And then all the other Amazons just go, oh, okay, we love her. You know, we hated her 10 minutes ago, but now we love her.
She has to have
because
some
it's
kind
all
of
okay.
she has to have some kind of punishment,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be that bad. Now,
Yeah.
Super Russ is asking, hopefully you know this answer because I sure don't. I don't know much about Artemis's same character from the Young Justice animated series.
I don't know if it's the same character for the animated series because I haven't spent a lot of time with that, but Artemis is a character that was introduced around issue 90 of the second volume of Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And what it was is Wonder Woman, or the Oracle of the Amazons, had this vision that the Wonder Woman was going to die. So what does Hippolyta do? She calls for another contest and rigs it so Diana won't win it. Someone else will win it, who ends up being Artemis. Artemis wins it, she becomes Wonder Woman, and she dies like the Oracle predicts.
Oh, okay.
Which is very interesting that storyline is based out of a 2-issue storyline with a Amazon called, why am I blanking on her name?
Well, can I just say it's hard to keep up with these names? I mean, again, I feel
none of these are like Nancy
stupid.
or Cindy or
I know.
None of them are.
Really? Come on,
Orana.
you're making me work.
Orana in issue 250 and 251. As a matter of fact, sometime we should live dive about the comparison between 250 and 251 to the Artemis contest storyline in 90 through 100, because there's parallels and there's not at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, I did enjoy this book as an experience of itself. And but before I do, wait, I have to just say hello to my boyfriend who was up really early. Werewolf by lunchtime.
Yep. And Paul S. is clearing up that it's a totally different character.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. See, thank God for the chat. Please. I will say I liked this entire book. I liked the cover. I thought it looked really cool. I really liked the art. And I think I was aware that you were like, so I went into the story thinking,
I influenced you.
Well, no, it was good. It was like, don't worry. Just enjoy what it is.
Enjoy it for what it is.
Enjoy it for what it is.
You know, the Donna Troy and Cassie hunting Artemis, that was pretty cool in that story. Yeah. And they were always about a day behind where Artemis was.
Yep.
But they knew she was there. And I liked that part, but it's when it got to the point of the motivations behind.
Yeah.
That I was like, flush the toilet already.
Yeah, it's basically Hippolyta like had her do it so that she could
Hippolyta said there was no other way to unite the Amazons like they needed to be united unless someone had killed her, and she was fulfilling Hippolyta's wish to do it. And look at the burden she took on herself to be hunted by all of you when she knew she couldn't tell you that I told her to do it. It was just
silliness.
Yeah.
But can I just tell you that the reason I love this book is because the Neil Adams appreciation is in this month's, or whatever month these books came out. So this is done by his son. So the whole, I liked the art. The story was like, yeah, okay. But then at least it ended with that.
There was something in there for you.
It was just for me. So yeah, it's like, okay, so there's that.
And as Grayman says, that is a BS narrative. But what's even worse, as I just said a few moments ago, all of the other Amazons and even Wonder Woman, although you don't see Wonder Woman reaction to that in this issue, you see it in an issue of her own title. Everyone's like, oh, okay, then it's all fine.
Right.
We love you now. And you hated her 10 minutes earlier, you know, for killing your queen.
All better.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So then you hop to this, am I right? The next one in this adventure, to me, gets better.
Yeah.
This is a one-shot, I think, Coronation Special.
But you want to know the worst thing DC did about this book?
Please.
They put the solicit out for this book before Trial of the Amazons was over and said, Themyscira has a new queen. It's Nubia. And I went, we haven't wrapped up this storyline yet to see what tribe had won.
All right, fine.
You spoiled your own book.
Remember in the old, wasn't there when they should we kill Robin thing back a few, a couple decades ago? They actually kind of kept that secret.
Yeah, they had 2 different pages ready to go, depending on which way the voting went. But here they just gave it away.
Yeah.
I'm like, so much for your big event for the year.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting book. I think what it does is kind of it's a great launch for the next mini series where we're going to get background on where this Nubia came from, how she died, and how at the hands of a man, and how she came through the Amazon birth canal to the
Well of Souls,
to the Well of Souls.
I like that ABC, Amazon birth canal.
There you go. God, DC, these ideas are free if you'll just listen to us. I liked the flashback stuff. The art seems to be done by a lot of different people in this, and I gotta say this particular section, it wasn't that I didn't like it, but it was so different from the rest that I found it a little jarring.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
and some of the characters in that spread look better than others, even though it's all the same style.
Yes, exactly. It's like, really? But it has some lovely, pose cover type art in it that I think is great. Yeah, some of these are beautiful. I can't. Anyway, I can't.
And just to backtrack for a quick second too.
Please.
So Nubia was queen of the Amazons before Hippolyta had passed away, for those that didn't know.
Yeah.
And Hippolyta appointed her herself, because Hippolyta was ending up because at that time Diana was believed to be dead with what was going on in her current storyline. So Hippolyta was filling in the role of the Wonder Woman in the Justice League. And they needed someone to essentially be the queen, because the Justice League work was,
all consuming. All consuming
thing. So what I liked also about that issue that you just showed, just the general concept, I don't think any other comic book has a coronation special. We don't have a coronation issue of anything. And I liked that for that. And overall, I enjoyed that story.
Yeah. I liked it too. And Paul has a question for you.
She is. We're going to talk about that when we get to this segment of the future of Nubia.
Great. Okay. So to wrap up Nubia in the last 18 months, basically, that they've been, then it's on to Nubia, Queen of the Amazons. And I got the DC Pride cover for number 1. And this was set up beautifully, the backstory in that. So in essence, it's more of how Nubia died originally, and who killed her and why. And someone from that past is making life very upsetting for her in the present. And I actually don't want to spoil this one, because I kind of liked it. And, if they do another trade, I think it's kind of worth it. Unless I wonder what your thoughts on the storyline were.
So my thoughts on the first and fourth issue are much different than my thoughts on the second and third issue, because it was a 4-issue series that just wrapped up.
Yeah.
Issue 1, what I love about issue 1, first of all, we have Nubia on her coronation tour, and she's establishing herself as the leader of Themyscira and visiting the nations, visiting the Justice League. But what I love the most about this story is the friendship they develop between her and Hawkwoman.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought that is such a great match. And Nubia needs to have another friend in the DCU that is not an Amazon, that is not Wonder Woman or a Wonder Woman family character. And I thought, Hawkgirl is a perfect match for that. They're both
That's a great
warriors. They
thought.
both would have similar thoughts, and probably in terms of reaction to things.
Uh-huh.
They complement each other.
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved that.
Okay. Makes a lot of
That
sense.
was-
Yeah, and then she just disappears again, doesn't she?
The second issue, she's
Kinda.
in a fair amount, and then it just kind of keeps dwindling down.
Yeah. It's a good point.
issues 2 and
Let's
3,
give them
in
some
a nu-
friends, for crying out loud.
in a nutshell, with issues 2 and 3, it's just 2 and 3, everything just kept deteriorating a little bit for me from issue
Yeah.
1. I was so excited with issue 1, and then issue 2 and 3, there seemed to be, for me, filler. Now, the good parts of the story are really good,
Yeah.
but then there's like this padding filler around it a little bit. And
Do you like the backstory? You know, the
I like the backstory. What I'm
Yeah.
talking about filler is when you spend 4 pages in the hospital deciding how
Exactly.
you're going to handle the situation that's happened.
Right.
We don't need 4 pages of that.
Right. And how many pages, how many times do you have to talk about the character Baya? As she's the most amazing person. She's the most amazing person. She seems nice, but I'm not seeing anything that's super amazing about her. But literally the same page, there'll be the exact same phrase. Yeah, but I really trust her because she's so amazing. It's like, well, make her amazing then. I'll believe you. But so, and then this ends with another nod to, there's more to come. And at this point, Ryan, I'm about to bow out because it's like, God, you guys, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should probably acknowledge the real reason why these series exist and the real reason why there's more, because there's always a financial reason behind this. Yeah. So keep in mind, Wonder Woman was one of several titles, like Flash was another one, that for several years was published 2 issues a month. And last year, when DC decided to go back to a monthly schedule on those titles, they looked and said, we can't lose the money that Wonder Woman fans are shelling out this much a month. We can't reduce that by half. We have to keep their money. We have to keep getting that money.
Okay.
So these books are the solution to not having that second issue of Wonder Woman twice a month and only having it once a month. This is the solution to that. That's a primary factor why we're seeing a lot of these type of books.
Okay.
What I would have thought could have worked a little bit better with this story is to take the really good parts of the story, and if that would have been the backup in the main Wonder Woman title. Right now they're doing Tales of Young Diana, and they're all right, but it's nothing that anyone
is breaking down the door to read.
Exactly. You read it and you go, okay, I read it, and it's not bad. It's not bad by any means, but if they would have taken like the meat and bones of this story and put that as the backup in Wonder Woman, I think they could have had a really good selling book.
Interesting. Yeah.
So,
and I'd be
because
fine
there
with
are
that.
good parts. The art is good on it. The primary plot is good. It's just the fluff around it.
Yeah.
When I say you're spending 4 pages, that feels like filler to try to get the book up to 22 pages or whatever it is, of talking about, how are we going to handle this threat? Well, the threat's happening right now. You just handle it,
Right. Yeah. This is the most I think I've delved into contemporary books since the Lois Lane Enemy of the People stuff. So, I mean, it's a pile of them. There's a lot of these books, which is fine. It's Nubia and I'll go for it. But at the same time, it's like, what a money grab, for, how much is this thing? It's $4 for, something that takes about 5 minutes to read. Hope you like the art and hope you don't get pissed off at the filler. So they're not making it easy.
And sometimes for people like me, who's such a completist, that's $4 times 3 or 4 a month. an issue, you know?
Because of those beautiful covers. Now
Yeah.
that's
And
the
that
other.
cover behind you, I posted that on
Yeah.
Instagram this morning.
Yep.
That's beautiful. I mean,
Right.
that's a piece of artwork. I mean, literally a piece of art.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to kind of the next thing I want to talk about, which is um, it seems to me Jackson is like the definition of a modern comic. It's like, apparently, give me your money now. Just be quiet and go away. I think our working hypothesis is that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to put Nubia in a movie or something, because we ain't stupid. And so if that is the case, as a collector or even a speculator, what would we recommend that, either I keep from this pile, because I'll keep everything, but still. Ryan, what are your thoughts on, from a collector standpoint,
Sure.
what are the important books or variant covers that you think are worthwhile?
Sure. So first of all, Nubia became more of a prominence modernly when DC Future State was announced. And remember, Future State ended up getting canceled, but they did release the 2 months worth of work that had already been completed on it before that 5G reboot was canceled.
Yeah.
But this is when Nubia started coming back in, because people started looking, ooh, she must be kind of a very important figure going forward for DC's plan, or at least with Wonder Woman. So anything from that era, around that time when they first showed her as the next Wonder Woman and stuff too, that's a great jumping on point.
Yeah.
Because that's really when we started seeing the upshift of this character getting attention, this very neglected character getting attention. You never can go wrong with an original copy of her first appearance. I mean, but that book is shooting up in value. Not only it's decreasing in value if the covers come off of it, but
really? You're kidding. You mean this isn't going to get me big bucks from? Come on.
It's complete. It's just not intact.
It's right. Do you want it in order?
Good thing you got that slab behind you.
Yeah. And also they are making a facsimile of this thing. So
yeah. I think we're going to see that book, the original of that book, continue to increase.
Yeah.
Until at least we have confirmation one way or another, is Nubia going to be in Wonder Woman 3?
Okay.
Or some other future project,
Yeah.
I think we're steadily going to see that book increase. So I would recommend that. Quite honestly, though, as I said at the beginning of the show, this is a character pre-crisis that had 5 total appearances in the entire DC universe.
Right.
Pick up all 5 of them, because the Super Friends comic and the Supergirl comic book that she appears in, those are very affordable, even in nice shape.
Yeah, and the Supergirl story is a great one. It's it's just as a comic book. It's fantastic, because Hippolyta wants to adopt Supergirl, make her an Amazon. It's a fantastic story, just in and of itself.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's no Wonder Woman in that story. It's Hippolyta and Nubia and Supergirl.
Yep.
Very interesting pairing.
Yeah. Well, Tony is voicing something that I think is probably I kind of agree with. There are better female characters I'd like to see get a movie first. It's so tough, because is the character that would be in a movie or get a movie going to be the same character as what we see in these things? Because they can just change it up.
I don't know if she would get her own movie, but I think she would be in a Wonder Woman movie first.
Yeah.
What's also interesting that I do want to acknowledge, have you ever seen the Kathy Lee Crosby Wonder Woman movie?
No.
Kathy Lee Crosby is blonde as Wonder Woman.
No, I have not. Is it? Can one find it on the streaming services?
You can find it on it is on the streaming services, and it might be on Tubi, the free one.
Okay.
It might be, but it is on a streaming service somewhere for sure. this is one of the most interesting movies because you look at it and you go, well, it's kind of like there's parts of the mod era Diana Prince in it,
Oh, cool.
but she has powers. But like everyone kind of knows she's Wonder Woman, like knows that Diana Prince is Wonder Woman, but she still kind of keeps it a secret on the down low. But Jane Kennedy plays this African American character that's her arch nemesis, Angela. And the reason I bring this up is I would love for you to watch that movie sometime and tell me if you think that Angela would be better if she would have been Nubia.
Well, now I have to find it. So I will look for it. I will watch it. And I will tell you.
Okay.
Well, on the whole, I'd love to get your thoughts, Ryan, on this character, charging back into our consciousness. As I was reading through all this stuff the last few months, I've been looking at reviews online and reviewers on YouTube. Some people really are just not buying it. Most of the stuff is really positive. And I would say that although I wish my reading experience of this was slightly better, I'm thrilled that this is here. I think, having a Black lesbian superhero is exactly where we need to be. So I'm all about it. I think it's fantastic. I hope she shows up in a Wonder Woman movie, and I hope the Wonder Woman movie she shows up in is good. Because I wouldn't mind seeing kind of a Black Panther, kind of response happen to a female character, a superhero. And, if the Warner Brothers Discovery people are, I've read that they have kind of a 10-year plan to do with movies what the Marvel Universe did or has doing. There's a place for a Nubia character there, and I hope she takes her rightful seat. And I also think it's super important that other diverse creators are working on her books. Maybe part of what my reading experience is the result of newcomers to the comic book industry. Maybe the more you do, who knows? But I'm glad that there's a more diverse crowd working in this industry now and putting out material that really speaks to a big swath of the comic fandom. I think it's great.
That jumping back to what does get dialogued a little bit, and we just touched on it briefly here in the live stream, but Nubia's sexuality, I think, is just handled so perfectly.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't seem like a big deal. It seems very natural for the character. And I love the execution of that. They didn't throw it in your face going, look, look, look.
Right. Here she is to the pride flag.
Yeah. He wasn't out there, waving the flag or anything. The weirdest thing for the quote unquote people who are worried that Nubia is too woke, not in that aspect, I don't feel she is. The wokest part of Nubia that I've seen in the last year was actually, and I'm not saying that this isn't a legitimate thing to be in the forefront of your minds, but Nubia taking the stance for the deforestation in Brazil.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but that seemed a little more wedged in there to me.
Yeah.
Than like her sexuality didn't seem wedged at all. It just seemed that was one of the best examples I think I have seen of a character. It's not a big deal. They didn't make it a big deal.
Yep.
And they don't shy away from it.
Exactly. That's a really good point. Yeah. The deforestation stuff, it really, it makes sense because one of the tribes, comes from, that jungle area. So, but yeah, the execution of that was like, oh, okay. But yeah. So hopefully the character will continue. Now I know there's a one shot coming up, right? Tell me what this is.
So here's what we got coming up for the future of Nubia. So DC begins to officially celebrate her 50th anniversary. 50 years since that first appearance for a character that's just now finally getting their due from that appearance 50 years ago. So on November 15th, that Wonder Woman 204 is going to be released as a facsimile. So if an original copy is something that you're not sure if you want, or you're not sure if that's in your budget or not, this is a great chance to check out this book for what it is at a $3.99 price. This issue of 204, besides being Nubia's first appearance, is a very significant issue because this is the end of the non-powered mod era Diana Prince in this issue. She gets her powers back. I Ching dies, who was her Chinese mentor, and Nubia is introduced all in one issue. So there's that book is important for many, many reasons. And that cover, cover is worth it. It's worth $4 alone just to look at that image.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that comes out November 15th. Then on November 29th, there is a one-shot coming out that I believe is 64 pages, and it's called Nubia and the Justice League. So from what we're understanding, Nubia joins the Justice League. Now, we don't know, is this just going to be for this one issue? Is she going to be a permanent Justice League member? Because technically the Justice League are still deceased.
Oh.
So
well, that seems bad.
So we're not sure if this is going forward or not, but this issue is Nubia and the Justice League, and I love seeing Hawk Woman on the cover with her too.
Yeah.
You know, it's reestablishing that another friendship outside of the Wonder Woman world.
Man, I think you've got just a great idea. You know, I mean, to have those two, like a buddy movie, so to speak, or a buddy book with Nubia and Hawkgirl hanging out and solving stuff. That would be awesome.
I love that. I think that's all. And like I said, I think the characters complement each other. You know, they're very similar. They're different, but they would have the same approach, I think, in battle and in thinking and coming to the conclusions or ideas that they come to. I think that they have a lot in common. Yeah. And I love that it was Hawkgirl whose idea was, can I tag along? Can I come to Themyscira? Can I go on this tour with you for her coronation? So
there's some possibilities there if they see what they got.
So those are what we know for the future of Nubia right now. So if there's more things planned for the 50th anniversary, which I hope there are, we haven't seen that. You know, Figures Toy Company, which does these Mego reproductions of the action figures, or they create figures that are new, but they look like how they would have looked if Mego had produced them back at the end of the 70s. They have not done a Nubia figure yet, but they have put Nubia on the back packaging of their Wonder Woman figures. And she's the only character that hasn't been released or announced for an action figure release. I think that would be appropriate with it being the 50th. So at one time, and I have not heard an update on this in a very long time, at one time there was a Nubia maquette being discussed, being produced.
I have to ask a stupid question.
What's a maquette? Statue.
Thank you. I'm a little old lady who reads comic books. You have to talk slow for me.
You probably have maquettes in that comic room of yours and just don't know it. So.
I just don't know it.
There was talk of that. I haven't heard anything in a long time being discussed because the company that was doing it even went to the fans and said, what version would you want to see of Nubia? Because we're going to do one. And then, like I said, I haven't seen an update on that in quite some time. So I don't know if that got canceled or not, but that's the future for Nubia. But
cool.
As for the present of Nubia, present being the key word.
Nick, guess who sent me something? Ryan sent me something in the mail.
How did I get a comic book to fit in there?
How did he do it? So he said, now it's going to come in the mail and do not open it until the live dive. So I'm going to open it.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
I think it's a baseball bat that has Nubia on it.
Okay.
I don't know how. Let me see. This is why I don't do unboxing videos.
Hey,
this is so pathetic.
Keeping our addresses off screen, though. That's
yes, because we don't want to get doxxed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh my God. He got me Nubia Hershey bars.
As for the president of Nubia, she's a candy bar.
Oh my God. I got
And
3 of them, you guys.
okay,
Look
this
at
is why I
that.
sent 3. Okay.
Okay.
I sent
I
one for
don't have to
you,
share it, do it.
one for the Wi-Fi hotspot. And then if you wanted, I don't know if you wanted to keep one, if you would be into that, or if you would just keep the wrapper, or whatever. And I thought, well, maybe you would see Rob or give him one, or whatever you want. Whatever you can save all 3 and not eat them, or you could pitch all of them, or they're yours to do.
No. One of them will definitely be eaten because a comic book, Silverhaired Bronze Age Babe, has a sweet tooth that you would not believe. One of them is going to go immediately down to the comic book room and just sit in perpetuity on the Wonder Woman shelf with the other stuff that actually some of which you sent to me. And the other one, maybe I'll let my Wi-Fi hotspot share it with me. Rob is out of luck, unless dude.
He's going to have to put that mask on and live dive with me if he wants one.
Exactly.
So he's got to earn his. So a little bit on that.
How did you find these? Oh my God.
So to let you know, because only in this collectible universe that we live in right now would a candy bar wrapper be an exclusive, and it is. The full-sized Nubia bars are only available at Walmart in a boxed version.
You had to buy the box.
Well, it's not like I wasn't going to anyway. So,
yeah, what am I saying? Never mind.
And if you look there, she's saying something. She says, what does she say?
I am Wonder Woman.
I am Nubia.
It says I am Wonder Woman.
Oh, does it?
Mine
I am Wonder Woman. Okay.
I am Wonder Woman.
I thought she said I am Nubia, but okay, no, it is I am Wonder Woman. Okay.
Yeah. I am Wonder Woman in little parentheses down here. Nubia. So you have to be in the know, I guess.
Yes.
Well, Ryan, I definitely was not expecting chocolate.
I'm so thankful that it made the truck without melting. You could have had soup in there.
I'll tell you what, I love you even more now. It's like give me chocolate. I'm there. Oh my God. Well, Ryan, thank you for this. I have been wanting to talk to you at length about all of this Nubia stuff since you sent me since you politely kicked me in the rear and said, yeah, you're wrong. So do this. Otaku Tour, yes, I got chocolate. Good to see you. Thank you again for last week. That was a really fun live dive that we did over on their channel. So thank you. Any other questions, comments, or funny stories from the peanut gallery in the chat? Happy to entertain those, but in the meantime, Brian, again, thank you for this. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for this wonderful live dive, and thank you for keeping me in the world of Nubia, because I'm very excited to see what happens with this character. I think I'm glad. I'm just so personally delighted that she lives. And
because this character could easily have just been forgotten about, and for a time she was lost.
Yeah,
but she's found, and give the character a shot. See what you think.
Absolutely. I really would recommend the first. I think the first series is in trade paperback.
Yep.
Or if it's in a subscription thing that you can get, dive in, take a look, see what you think. And I totally agree with Ryan. Some of these covers, these are beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it looks good on your wall too. So, and Caleb has the final word. Beer, chocolate, and comic books. Life is good. So with that, I think we will bring this to an end. Thanks again, Ryan. Thank you all in the chat. It's always great to hang out with you. I really, really enjoy it. And Ryan and I will put our heads together, and maybe my friend Rob will, will join in and think of something we can come and yak
I think
at
it's
you.
the Artemis thing in the comparisons to Orana. I think
that's a good. I'm going to have to get myself educated on that, and we'll do it.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Ryan, and we'll see y'all next time.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
Yep.